Now, would you believe it? Nearly 20 years on the clock for rogue traders. And during that time, we've seen some right rascals. Not many like tonight, so prepare yourself. When rogues are caught on camera, they can react in a number of ways. They can run, chat, sometimes swing a leaf blower at me. Just occasionally, though, they hold up their hands and promise to change their ways. Warning, if they do, they'd better mean it. It looks so simple. Climb a tree, chop it up, and throw it on the floor. But you know, tree surgery is a skilled job, only to be attempted by professionals. In Kent and Essex, however, there's a group of rogue treeders who've been using it to fleece people for the best part of a decade. I humbly suggest you avoid them. Give them the chop. Let them drop. But to do that, you need to know what they look like. So let's go back a bit. You see, faces tend to stay the same, even though the names vary. And the names vary. V-A-R-E-Y. In 2017, we caught the whole clan of various Varies on camera as they attended Peter Vary's court case for fraud whilst working as a tree surgeon. There's Peter, who went to prison for ripping people off. There's John, who we caught overcharging for simple tree surgery work. We don't know if he's involved anymore. And then there's Sean Vary. One thing we know about Sean, he doesn't really like cameras. No. Because you're a flipping dodge pop, mate. And Sean goes by Roger, Harvey, or whatever he fancies when he wakes up in the morning. The names change, but short of surgery, he's always going to look something like this.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10 years ago, we caught him massively overcharging for simple tree surgery, or savagery in his case. His dreadful damage to trees, as well as his customers, had to stop. So I became a leafy apparition and swung in.
Hi, Sean. How you doing? Matt, all right, BBC Rogue Traders.
All right, mate.
You took £630 for a job you didn't do properly.
Yeah. OK, then what I was going to say is I'm sorry.
People feel that they've been diddled. In those cases, we'll be getting that money back as well.
OK.
Yeah?
No problem, yes.
Well, he certainly looked repentant, didn't he? Contrite, remorseful, penitent, compunctious. So how do you explain this? Ah, Roger today, is it, Sean? At it again? I'm off to Romford to rendezvous with Brenda.
Hello, Brenda. How are you? All right?
Back in May, she became a target for Sean when she called a number on a flyer she got through the door.
I telephoned and there was an older chap answered and said that he'd send someone round.
How many people turned up?
3.
What did you need doing?
Just my hedge. He told me that it's £200 for work and then I think £3.75 a kilo for what they take away.
Right.
And we've got a man from the council in that he has to check.
They've got a guy from the council with them to assess the amount of waste.
Well, so they said, but when he walked in, I thought he's got the same accent as these other boys.
With the job done, the mysterious man from the council gave her an eye-watering price for removing her hedge trimmings. It was...
£6,890.
That's a huge sum of money.
I just did it. I sort of knew something was wrong, but didn't pull up. And,
yeah.
You know.
Brenda didn't have anything close to that amount of cash in the house, so he pressured her into doing a bank transfer. Once they'd left, tell me the thoughts that went through your head.
I knew I'd been had. It was probably hysterical.
Were you a bit in shock?
Yeah, shock.
Can I ask you what that money means to you?
I was beginning to watch money. If I lived to 94, I've not got a lot at all.
If I was one of them and I was sitting in front of you now,
Yeah.
what would you want to say to them?
What a horrible way to earn your living. of older people, you know, but they wouldn't care, would they? It's no good talking to people like that. They do it anyway, don't they?
Sean Very has become very good at covering his tracks. There are more leaflets with more company names, more fake local addresses and landline numbers. So how do you know which one's him? A process we call identification. We've discovered that despite the many name changes, there's something Sean forgets: to change the words on his flyers. Time to call him up and catch him out. Yes, despite 10 years passing and all those promises, Sean hasn't varied the basics of what he does. He's just got worse. Much, much worse. Find out how in a little while. Sean Very is someone we've met before, nearly 10 years ago, when he was just a teenager and I was in my sort of mid to late 20s. Swinging down from trees like Tarzan. Well, if I was Tarzan, he was a cheater, a liar, and ruined people's lives by conning the elderly. So has the leopard changed its spots? Or is his law still the law of the jungle? Survival of the dodgiest. We've got this lovely Essex garden and an apple tree in need of a bit of a trim. Did somebody say consultant arborist? It's the very well-grounded Mr. James Pinder. What doesn't he know about cropping, chopping and chipping? Not mulch.
We're asking for a light reduction on this tree. Fairly simple, should all be done really just with basic hand tools. Cost-wise, somewhere in the region of £300.
With our homeowner Helen in place and James watching on, in the van with the crew, it's Sean again.
Here we go. Well, this is the tree.
Yep.
I'd like it taken back by about a third.
If you was to do it as a cash invoice, it might work out cheaper for you. It should be £650 plus
Okay.
VAT. I'll bring it down to £550 for you. And that's a cash when the job is finished, if you don't mind.
So far, so Sean. But he says it's not just the labour we'll have to pay for, but the waste disposal too.
It's new law now, you see. You have to pay £3.75 a kilo. We bring a council guy from the council with us. He comes with his mulcher. We feed it through his mulcher, and on the side of his mulcher he's got a clock, and that tells him whether there's 1 or 1,000,000, however many you've got. He's what he charges you for.
Right.
He's pretty good.
There is no law that you have to pay £3.75 a kilo.
£3.75 a kilo. Guy from the council. All sounds a bit familiar. With the scam spelled out, now for how not to use a chainsaw.
Something I've never seen is the smoking and cutting. Pretty sure that's not in any training manual.
With the work underway, the man from the council, so-called, also known as Rocky Smith, Sean's mate, comes in to explain the charges.
It's £3.75 per kilo to get rid of it. Looks quite a big tree, so you're going to have a few kilos in it, just to let you know.
Could you sort of estimate
I'm
how
not looking at the
much?
size of it, no, because as you can appreciate, it's a tree and they never fail to amuse me.
It's a tree.
Sometimes it'd be really light, it depends on the healthiness of the tree.
Do you work for the council then?
I work alongside of the council, not your local district. I cover a wide range of London.
Yeah, right. Council's monitoring the responsible disposal of waste sounds like a good idea, if, in Rocky's case, it wasn't complete nonsense.
And he said he's doing it as a cash deal, is he, for you?
Yeah.
He's not charging you no VAT?
Yeah.
There you go.
Call me a cynic, but I'm not sure a genuine council employee would be comfortable with the idea of VAT fraud. Plus, £3.75 a kilo is about 23 times the actual cost of disposing of green waste.
Smoke that cigarette.
All we asked for was a light pruning. But back in the garden, it's the Essex Chainsaw Massacre.
One-handed chainsaw use. No application of chain brake, no visor, no ear protection, no head protection. Not once have we seen any safe working practices with the chainsaw at all. That's the entire top of the trees taken out. That's just come crashing down on the end of the building. Absolute textbook non-tree pruning.
With the savage assault on our apple tree complete, it's time to talk money. Do we have to?
That's my part all finished now. Unfortunately, I've got to get to the next job.
OK.
So I've come for my £5.50 if you don't mind.
When homeowner Helen heads to the kitchen to get the cash, something very strange happens. Outside, responsible tree disposal expert Rocky appears to be trying to see where she gets the money from. And it looks as though Sean's doing the same thing.
Not sure how much I've got here. 4,
Well, I'll leave you count it for a couple of minutes.
8.
I'll step outside.
How terribly courteous of you, Sean. Hang on, what's this? Why is the man from the council now rooting through our cupboards? And why is he covering his hands with his T-shirt? Clue, it's not for reasons of hygiene.
That's mine.
OK.
£5.50.
5.50.
Now the council guy, see him there, look. He's
Yeah.
going to come in and tell you how much you owe.
We're £550 lighter, and we're apparently paying by the kilo to have the waste taken away.
There's no way that machine can calculate volume, weights, or anything at all. That is literally just doing the wood chipping and turning it into small particles.
Now for the final payment. Rocky, clearly not a council employee, Smith, returns.
As you can appreciate, it's not going to be cheap to get rid of your waste.
Yeah.
From here, it's 1,464 kilos.
1,464 kilos. He's totally making this up.
And then we times that by 3.75, agree? Mm-hmm. Equals 5,490.
Oh, certainly a lot more than I was expecting.
There's another one to come through as well, yeah, but I've just got to wait for that to calculate through to me phone, because what it does, it goes from here, goes through the machine, goes to head office, and then they send it through to me via a message.
£5,490 to get rid of a bit of apple tree? Mind you, I suppose that's the money it takes to get a magical wood chipper with its own email address and 5G connectivity.
Have you not got that amount in cash?
No.
All right. So what you might be better to do is if I give you some bank details, you go into your bank and do a transfer, so from your account into my account.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do that because my son does all my banking for me.
Well, let's see how much cash you've got now then, and we'll see what I can sort out for you.
Might have a bit more, I'm not
You
sure.
can make as much as you can up.
While Helen counts the cash, Rocky's so pleased with himself, he appears to take a picture to remember the occasion.
6, 8, 300. So is this money going to the council?
Yeah, it all goes into it.
I'm surprised it's so much.
So you've got 1,230 here. So what we're going to do about the rest of the payment?
The rest of the payment? Are you serious? Sean and Rocky already had the best part of 1,800 quid between them, yet Rocky wants to trouser another 4 grand.
Does your son have your bank cards and everything, does he?
Yeah, he has everything. I don't have anything at all. He's got my power of attorney.
With his man from the council con unlikely to work on Helen's son, Rocky's route to her bank account is blocked. So he tries another tactic. Guilt.
We'll just draw a line. If you can't afford it, he's got a power of attorney, we'll just get rid of it for what you were giving me and then that'll do. Because really it should have been around 15k to do it properly, but never mind. He's going to have to burn it or something, can he? Because obviously you haven't paid to get rid of it. Probably fly tip it now, won't he?
I hope he won't fly tip.
Unless you can make me a bit more cash up.
No, I can't find any more. You've had the lot.
Sickening stuff, trying to defraud a pensioner out of thousands of pounds. Now, of course, Helen is one of us, but the next person they target won't be. They could be you, or your dad, or your gran. With Sean, Rocky and co on their way, James heads out to the garden to give us his final thoughts on the tiny amount of work they've actually done.
Everything is just cut back to random places. There's no pruning whatsoever. The scary thing here is it's like the way they've approached the work is just completely off the scale bad. This is the most expensive bad job I've ever seen.
So there you have it, the full package of poor, dangerous workmanship, deception, intimidation, and even a bonus unwanted rummage in your cupboards. They want to keep the door closed on their activities. We want it wide open where everybody can see. So join me in part 3. Rogue traders. Talking of rogue traders, rogue tree butcher Sean Very and his friend Rocky Smith's attempts to intimidate our actor out of almost £6,000 for an hour's bushmangling is right down there with the lowest of the low. If you saw it, you'll be looking forward to what comes next as much as I am. We've seen Sean Very and Rocky Smith's tree scam in full flow.
I'll come for my £5.50 if you don't mind.
As they tried to con and scare our actor out of a huge amount of money.
So you've got 1,230 here. So what we're going to do about the rest of the payment?
And while she was in the other room, they met up for a poke around in the kitchen. Money to one side, tree expert James Pinder was appalled by the quality of the work.
Well, that was a shocker. They've taken it down to 3/4 of what was originally there, which is damaging to the tree. It was all bad work.
Well, we're back in Essex with a new house, and today we've called Sean out for another job. It's not one that he'll be expecting, though.
Guys, look busy. I'm doing it. OK, we are here. We are waiting for Sean Very. And I need to ask him, how on earth can he be even more dishonest than he was last time by using the whole man from the council thing to con elderly people out of thousands of pounds? It's a question I don't know the answer to. Whether I'll get an answer, well, I suppose we'll find out.
As we lie in wait inside, we've got our spotters outside.
Target vehicle 1 approaching. Looks to be at least 3 people.
Connie, the tree seller, just come to look at you.
I'll open the back gate.
I don't want to come through with you.
No, that'd be easier.
Sean seems suspicious.
Oh, I don't like the front one. Why? It's an empty can again.
But before he can scarp her, actor Doris leads Sean round the side of the house and, like one of his unfortunate customers, up the garden path. That's it, just a bit closer, Sean. A little bit more.
It's not very big. Could you do it today?
Sean, how are you? Matt, all right, BBC Rogue Traders. You'll remember me from last time, won't you? Of course. We met years ago when you were doing roughly the same thing. Roughly the same thing, but in a much less sophisticated way and taking a lot less money as well, weren't you? Because now you're doing the council trick.
Move up my way, then.
You were doing the councilman trick now, which means... Hey, how you doing, Rocky? You all right? You going back to the council today, or are you actually all working together? You'll need this. So that's Sean Very. More Verys at the bottom of our garden. It's been a long old story with that family, but they are still out there, and they are working it in a more sophisticated and damaging way than ever before. Remember, the names won't help you in this game. Only faces leave traces. So avoid those. Well, we've heard nothing more from Sean Very or Rocky Smith, but we have heard that last week the law spoke. Sean Very was given a 2-year suspended sentence for distraction burglary. He also got an ankle tag and was ordered to do 200 hours of unpaid work. It's a result, but it doesn't take him or Rocky off the streets. That's why you need to remember these faces, because faces leave traces. Don't let them through the door, up the path or into your garden. And if you get a leaflet from nowhere advertising garden services, recycle it responsibly. Remember, if it's out of the blue, it's not for you.